Welcome to the UK. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So you've got a sort of a huge back catalogue of work, and you've worked on some of the most iconic films, such as Bill and Ted and Tron. Can we revisit some of those places, and what was it like?
Absolutely.
First of all, let's work with Bill and Ted. What was it like working on that?
Okay, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. All I remember about, well, there's Janice right there, but the thing I remember about Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure was just turning 30 years old, putting on a cowboy costume and being loosed on the University of Arizona campus. That's pretty much it. And beware.
You really got to apply your acting skills.
I was a cowboy.
And also you get to dress up in Tron. There's another sort of very iconic film there. So tell us a bit more about that.
Well, here's an interesting thing, because I was in Tron and I was in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I've done close to 100 film and television projects. I went to Lambda in Earl's Court when I was 19 years old. London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art, and I went and studied here and studied basically to be a character actor. I didn't know what I was going to do, but when I came to London, and as this young punk, they only let me play old men and women and dual roles in place. I never got to play the leading boy, which is what I was. So I go back to America, and next thing you know, I'm a Jew from New York. I'm playing cowboys, I'm playing computer programs, I'm playing Southern retards, anything but who I am. And that's the English's fault.
And how did you benefit from having, do you think, a training in British acting, so to speak, as opposed to a training in America?
Training in America is all about the development of the self. British training is all about the development of your craft as an artist. And what the advantage it gave me when I showed up as a 19-year-old kid in America, I was a better actor than everybody else. But I never became a movie star because I never was able to, I mean, maybe because I'm not one, but I was never able to develop myself until I became more mature, when I realized that is really my greatest asset.
And how have you, when you approach a script, when you're offered a script, what's your approach when you're reading it? Do you look at the story as a whole? Do you look at it as your individual part that you're going to be playing?
It's always the story as a whole, always. And then you figure what position I'm going to play. Am I, a left wing, or am I a goalie? You find out your position and then you play it. The American approach and the English approach are very different. The English approach is, how do I fit into that costume? Put on that costume and then you mold your character around it. In America, it's like, what if I were a cowboy? How would I behave if I were a cowboy?
So it's a bit more like the method, I suppose.
That is, and that's the American way to do it. And it's the opposite of the Brits. And I was very, very British when I was there.
And as your career's moved on as well, you've also gone behind the camera as well, and you also teach. Can you tell us a bit more about that and what it is for you to give something back?
What happens is, over a period of time, Plato had an amazing line, and says, and having given birth to and nurtured true beauty, he will have the privilege of being loved by God and becoming, if ever a man can, immortal. So by creating works of art, you ensure your immortality. What's interesting, though, is being an actor is that you're the child. You are the child in the environment, the child on the set, the nurtured star. And it's a very wonderful position to be in. But in the nature's course, you eventually need to become the parent. And either that is by becoming the lead in a project. Harrison Ford is the parent of any film that he's in. Any great actor will. John Hurt will become the parent of the production that he's in, just by nature of the size of his role and the gravitas of his position. A working actor like me, if I'm not in a lead role, I'm not parenting. So what happens is you become a director, you become a teacher, not just out of financial necessity, but because of the necessity of age and the way you sit in the earth. And people ask which I like better, and the reality is nobody doesn't love being a child. It's the best job in life. But in lieu of being a child, it's a beautiful thing to be a parent. And that's what teaching has meant for me, and that's what directing has meant to me. Is the exact same sense of immortality, but a great sense of nurturing.
And with being a director, because you obviously are an actor, does that give you a better resonance with the actors that you're directing? You can connect to them and what you expect from them, really?
It's a very interesting thing. I did a lot of television. I was in television series in America, and a lot of the directors on television were actors. A lot of directors on film were either cinematographers or editors. There's very few great film directors, and the ones that are the great storytellers. And they usually were actors. Those actors have a greater sense of story, a greater sense of empathy for the stories that are being told, and a greater ability to nurture the artist. There are great cinematographers who became great directors, but they're very few, far between.
And what's coming up for you in the future?
Don't know. I had a great story. I was living in LA. I was invited to the South Pacific to teach an acting workshop for 6 weeks to the indigenous peoples of the Northern Mariana Islands. And I went there for 6 weeks and stayed for 4 years. And I disappeared off the face of the earth as far as Hollywood was concerned. My agent disappeared. My agent quit the business. I don't have an agent in LA anymore. I disappeared, and then I ended up in the Philippines writing and producing reality television series that I hosted and directing and I just got really busy. And then I moved back to New York and became a video director. I do video streams for corporate energy savings programs and green programming for the web. So that's what I do. I still have an agent. I just did a Tron Legacy Blu-ray edition, which will be a sequel for the next Tron, a prequel for the next Tron. I still act if anybody will fucking hire me. Because nothing is more fun than being the kid and this is this is fun. But they fly me here, all I have to do is sit and talk and have a good time.
What is it that sort of resonates with you that keeps your impetus still going? What ignites that flame for you?
I don't know. I gave you that immortality quote, and I don't know if that's really it. Philosophically, that's it. Philosophically, I'm ensuring my immortality. Emotionally, I'm just having a damn good time. What is more fun? You're having a blast. Are you not having a
I'm
great
totally
time?
having a blast, yeah.
That's it. I mean, what else is there? We get to have fun. Now, the nightmare of it is that you go broke and or aren't always wealthy. That sucks. That's the shit. That's the shit. And I have to explain that to my daughter. How do I explain to my daughter, who I want to grow up and become an attorney, or another job that like actually pays you every week? But this is more fun than anything. It's just more fun.